that he asked Casey where her baby was, and then claims that Casey told him that her baby was with Tony Lazzaro, which was her boyfriend, which brings us back to her original story where she said that the nanny took the baby and made her completely uncredible. But this guy, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, said they were never in the same place long enough to exchange a word or two in passing that would have been within an earshot of guards. Now, it undermines that story once again that her nanny, Zenaida Fernandez-Gonzalez, took the story. This guy, Nichols, says he claims...
The police don't think that this guy is credible. That's I guess, the headline there. Let me ask you before I let you go.
They completely debunked this story.
Are they searching at all for little Caylee? Are the police or anyone connected to them searching for the child at this point?
See, that's the biggest question right now. There is really no active search. And when I spoke to Deputy Carlos Padilla, he said they're just going on the leads that they're getting in right now. So I took it a step further, and I called the special agent, the FBI agent that's involved in this case, Agent Dave Cavature, who's in charge of this case, and he says they're standing by. They really can't do anything unless Casey Anthony's attorney requests that they talk to her, unless the Orange County Sheriff's investigators say, you know, support us, come behind us, let's start a grid pattern, let's look in lakes, let's look in the woods, let's put a helicopter out, let's find this girl. There's really no active search for this girl, which really questions the Orange County investigators and what they're doing to find this girl.
Rosie, thanks. And some shocking new accusations against Casey Anthony tonight. A DJ who worked at Fusion, that club, until early June, watched our show last night and has a beef with some of Casey's claims, specifically that she was at this club because she worked there. That's what the lawyer said she was doing in those pictures. He gave, the DJ, on the record this statement. The Tony he refers to in it is Casey's boyfriend. Take a listen. Quote, the co-counsel said, this is him complaining about last night's statement, he says the co-counsel said that she'd been working at Fusion on and off for a few months. That's not true. Listen, I'm Tony's best friend. She wasn't a promo girl. The only reason she was there was because she came with Tony. Her and Tony didn't meet until May 24th at a party we threw for one of our friends. She didn't start going to Fusion until after that. And he continues, I was staying at Tony's apartment from the end of May until the end of June when I waited to move into my new place. So I was there when he started dating Casey. The last 2 weeks of June, when Casey was at the apartment, Caylee wasn't with her. She kept telling us that she was with the nanny or her parents, acting like nothing was wrong. I talked to investigators as soon as the story broke, and that's the end of his statement. Joining us live tonight is Michael Walsh. He is co-counsel for Casey Anthony. Michael, thanks for being here again with us tonight.
Thank you, Megan.
So the DJ taking issue with your statement, which I know came from your client, not from you, that she worked at Fusion, saying that's not true.
All right, well, how would he know who's working promotions since he's busy spinning the records? Hopefully that he's doing what he's paid to do, especially since he's living on Casey's boyfriend's couch.
Well, but he says that Tony, the boyfriend, is his best friend, and that the only reason Casey went to that club is because she was with Tony, and that she was there as a party goer, as a patron.
And how does he know that she wasn't doing promotions for various companies? That's what she does. That's what promotions do. You don't work there 9 to 5 when you're doing promotions. Different liquor companies, different sponsors send you in there on different theme nights to promote different products.
Did she get a paycheck?
She was working there. Different times, yes.
Okay, so she got a paycheck from a promotions company.
Different times, yes.
But during this time, during the relevant time of these photos in June?
No, I'm not going to talk about that from the months leading up to that.
Okay, so you can't state for a fact that when these photos were taken in June, she was on the payroll?
No, I can't. I don't know who took these photos. I mean, I heard for the first time that these photos existed and from the individuals who took them last night.
Right.
You know, one of the things that's happening is we're not getting this information until we go to the media. Nobody's giving it to us. So tell whoever has photos, tell whoever has information to come see us so we can get to the bottom of it.
Right. Well, and we found those two guys who took those photos ourselves here on the record. So in defense of them and the investigators, I think we were the ones who unearthed those on a national level first. But let me ask you, I want to get into the second part of the DJ statement. He says the last 2 weeks of June, that Casey was staying with Tony at the apartment and that Caylee was not with her. So according to this DJ, for at least the last 2 weeks of June, putting it around June 15th forward, there was no Caylee. Do you dispute that timeline?
I don't know what he saw. I don't know if he saw Caylee or not.
But do you dispute that for the last 2 weeks of June, Caylee was not with Casey?
I'm not going to give an exact timeline, but during portions of the last part of June, yes, Caylee was not with Casey.
Okay, and you, I mean, you won't put the date closer to the end of June, closer to the middle of June?
I will to law enforcement, I sure will.
Okay, and you know, you heard Rozzy, our reporter down there, talking about how there was frustration that they were saying they're not going to look for little Caylee until Casey starts talking. Is your client willing to talk directly to investigators in the presence of counsel?
Yes, as long as the scope is the search for her daughter, not the prosecution of Casey herself.
What does that mean, Michael?
Well, when you come out there and the questions are all geared towards Casey's guilt rather than the location of her daughter, it tends to have a clear effect that they're not looking for your daughter, they're just looking for your prosecution. That's not helpful to anybody, least of all little Caylee out there.
You know, I wanted to follow up with you on something you said last night. You said that you have spoken with people who claim to have known this babysitter who Casey says took Caylee. Who are those people?
I'm giving that to law enforcement, Megan, and I want to give that to them, and we've tried to forward that to them and to let them do whatever they can. So I'm not trying to dodge the question, but I really need to give it to the proper authorities on that.
Okay, and can you tell me, are those people who have actually laid eyes on the babysitter or actually spoken with the babysitter?
Both.
Since the time Caylee went missing?
From whenever the babysitter came into the lives up until... Yeah, right up until Caylee became missing. And
can they vouch for the fact that that woman was, in fact, babysitting little Caylee?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. And as far as you know, I want to forget that. Let me ask it this way. Casey said that she got a phone call from the babysitter who allegedly has Caylee on the day that her mother called 911, which was July 15th. She said she got a call from her and that it came from a private number. Do you know whether they have tracked down that phone record?
We are in the process of getting it. I'm not sure that we have the exact phone records for that call. We're in the process of gathering all the phone records to try to locate that call. In other words, we're taking the steps necessary, but I cannot tell you that it was this date, this time, this number at this point. Okay.
Michael, before I let you go, the State today in its papers described Casey's mental state as, quote, difficult to describe. Can you describe it?
Who described it as that?
The State reportedly described her mental state as difficult to describe.
At certain times, yes, in the sense that think about the pressure she's operating under. There's nothing psychotic about Casey. In other words, there's no latent psychological defects. She's just a young lady who's under a lot of pressure.
Michael, thanks so much.
Thank you, Meg.
Well, coming up, you will hear from Caylee Anthony's grandmother, Cindy. She reacts to the pictures of her daughter partying at a club days after little Caylee vanished. Here's a shocker. She's got a lot to say. And later, the international manhunt